inflammation. We all tend to think of that as a negative connotation, but actually it's something that the body needs to function correctly. We use it when our body needs to heal. Say there's an injury, like when we even get a bruise, that's a inflammatory response. That's the body sending inflammation to that area to heal whatever level of trauma may be there. Or say a sprained ankle, injuries like that will swell. Again, that's the body responding to do repair in that area. But when we get inflammation that is chronic and does not go away, then we begin to see disease and other wellness issues arise. But a lot of times the inflammation that is going to lead to something detrimental can't be physically seen like it can with a bruise or a swollen ankle or something like that. So let's dive a little bit into inflammation. I pulled some facts about it from PubMed, which you guys know is one of my favorite sources because they are a legitimate scientific doctor studied source. And then we'll talk a little bit about some things you can do to help balance the body's natural inflammation response and keep it where it should be, to keep you above the wellness line. So according to this one PubMed study, inflammations are mainly divided into acute and chronic inflammation depending on various inflammatory processes and cellular mechanisms. Recent investigations have clarified that inflammation is a major factor for the progression of various chronic diseases and disorders, including diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular diseases, eye disorders, arthritis, obesity, autoimmune diseases, and inflammatory bowel disease. Did you hear all of the things that inflammation plays a part in? Like, if we look at just this one reaction of the body and make sure that we keep it balanced, we give ourselves such a better chance to stay healthy and avoid developing all these other things than if we were to just not know it was there or ignore it and let it run rampant. Things like diabetes, cancer, heart issues, vision issues, arthritis, obesity, autoimmune diseases, and inflammatory bowel. Like, almost everybody we know to some degree deals with something along those lines, right? Like, unless they are really super health conscious and are dealing with this already, they're probably dealing with one of those things mentioned. It's pretty mind-blowing to me, all the things that they connected that to. Another quote says, Tumor extrinsic inflammation is caused by many factors, including bacterial and viral infections, autoimmune diseases, obesity, tobacco smoking, asbestos exposure, and excessive alcohol consumption, all of which increase cancer and stimulate malignant progression. So as I'm reading this almost sounds like circular reasoning, because it's saying that this type of inflammation can be caused by some of the things we already said inflammation can cause. But it's specifically speaking to tumors and inflammation. So again, getting or properly balancing inflammation in the body from the get-go is so key to giving your body a fighting chance against any of these things ever coming to play. When you're dealing with this tumor extrinsic inflammation, we're looking at autoimmune diseases and obesity possibly playing into that tumor inflammation. But we just read in the previous study that chronic inflammation can play a role in developing obesity and diabetes. So do you see how kind of one thing leads to another and connects to another? And again, as I like to view health, we can't just pull it apart and focus on one thing. The body is one whole mechanism, if you want to call it that, and every cog and piece plays a part and affects the rest of the body. It's fascinating. This last quote says that the process normally leads to recovery, so the process of inflammation normally leads to recovery from infection and to healing. However, if targeted destruction and assisted repair are not properly phased, inflammation can lead to persistent tissue damage. So even just protecting the tissue in our body, making sure that we have that balanced and proper inflammation. So I wanted to open with those to kind of give you guys an idea of what inflammation is, how it functions. I know that's not like a super deep dive on it. I always want to give you guys enough to act on, but also to prompt you to do some more research of your own. One, because I'm a busy mama and I don't have time to necessarily dive into this every week on whatever topic. And also because I know I learn things best when I search them out for myself, and I want you guys to be able to do the same. My goal is to point you in the direction, give you something that you can put into play right now after you listen, and then go learn more for yourself. Also, I know everybody has a limited amount of time in the day, so I never want to make these super long. So that's kind of the tipping point, I guess, or a jump off point for that particular topic. So what are some things we can do to encourage inflammation to play the role that it should, but not become problematic? So keeping it balanced and in that homeostasis where it needs to be. I have heard many people talk about curcumin, which is the key player in turmeric, and it is very anti-inflammatory. It's fantastic for a whole lot of other reasons as well, but it is a really good, strong player in promoting that proper inflammation and that response that we need in our body. You can get this in multiple supplements. You can get it just by using turmeric in your food. If you're going to do that, you want to find a clean source of turmeric that's organic and doesn't have all sorts of pesticides and things sprayed on it as it's grown, because that's going to defeat the purpose there as well. And I know sometimes, rabbit trail here, but sometimes it feels like it's so overwhelming to find something that is truly clean and not going to kind of counteract what I'm trying to do with it because of the way this particular spice or whatever was produced. But it comes down to, you do the best you can with the resources that you have. And for me personally, trust that God's going to honor the effort that I'm putting in to stewarding my body and my health and the health of my family as best I can. I apologize if you guys hear my dog in the background. I tried to hide as far away from him as I could, and there's just no getting away from his bark. But so yeah, curcumin is awesome for that. Another thing that I love to use, even on my baby when he was teeny tiny, which like now he's almost 3, actually 2 months from today, the day that I'm recording, he will be 3, and I can't believe that. But I have used copaiba, depends on who's pronouncing it, essential oil on him since he was teeny tiny to help promote that natural inflammation response in his body. It's amazing for supporting that function and keeping it in that correct place. I use this on anytime I have a blemish or an issue where I want to promote that natural function. I'm trying to stay as compliant as I possibly can. And I'm saying this, if this sounds like I'm suddenly coding words, that's why. I want you guys to have this information without it getting taken down. But I love this oil. It's super gentle. It's got a very, I shouldn't say very, it's got a woodsy type smell. It's not like floral or fruity. It's a very natural, earthy type smell. I know this is super controversial But this is how I've chosen to use it, and I would only ever do this with Young Living's oils because I can speak to their effect and I can speak to the purity of the product. And I know this company, I've used their products for 4 years. I would never recommend this with any other brand because I just cannot confidently say that to you because I don't use anything else. And because honestly, I chose Young Living for their purity purpose. Like, so that out of the way, I would put our copaiba Vitality on my finger. I'd put a drop of it on my finger and I would rub it in James's mouth when he was teething, and the difference that it would make for him in his comfort levels and just aiding him through that teething process. Obviously, inflammation is a natural response of the body to when teeth are breaking through the gums. It's needed, it's good, but sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable. And so I was able to use that oil to help him through that. I've used it when I have dropped things or when James has dropped things on my foot. I've had some issues with a toe that James dropped the broiler drawer of my oven on, and I was able to use the copaiba on that topically. I've also used it for easing my breathing if I felt like inflammation was needing to be balanced and it was affecting my breathing. I would rub it all over my chest. I just love this oil. It's so simple to use. It is very, very gentle. Like I said, safe for little tiny people all the way up to people 100 plus. Highly, highly recommend it. I'll put the link to it in the show notes for you guys to check out. And again, I'm a Young Living brand partner, so if you purchase that, you will be attached to me as one of my customers, and then you will have even more personal access to me to ask questions and get suggestions for how to use what you bought and all the great things. I love getting to connect with my customers on a personal level that way. Then the other thing that I was recently looking at for a reel that I posted on Instagram just a couple of days ago was grounding. Grounding actually reduces inflammation. And this was from another PubMed study because you guys, like, I live on that website when it comes to looking for facts about health. But grounding, literally just getting outside and putting your feet in the grass and in the dirt can help reduce inflammation in the body. And like, how much more simple could it be to just literally walk outside? Like, we all have a patch of grass somewhere nearby, right? Or dirt, like not concrete and asphalt, like actually getting your feet in the earth. Some people call it earthing. It's, as far as I know, they're synonymous, grounding and earthing, but just letting your body connect physically with earth. Like, I know that could sound really new agey and woo woo weird. I don't mean it in a strange way. I mean, like, literally just touch it with your bare feet. There are just interactions between the earth and our physical body where we can release like built up energy from all the energy pollutants around us. And again, not in a weird woo woo way. I don't know how else to explain this. But like things like electromagnetic frequencies from our devices and all of that can build up in our body, and we need to be able to release that for our body to function correctly. And one of the things that can get out of whack when all of those things are built up in us is inflammation. So just letting that go through getting our feet or even our hands, or maybe even just like laying outside on the ground. You want bare skin to touch. I'm not saying go outside and lay naked. Please don't do that to your neighbors. If you have a backyard that's very well fenced and you feel comfortable doing that, then by all means go for it. But you know, whether it's your feet, your hands, whatever, just get in connection. Like even gardening can be good for that, because your hands are in the dirt and in the earth and that kind of thing. And there are other benefits to that as well. But it was fascinating to me that reducing inflammation was one of them. Since I had this podcast coming up and I was looking that up for an entirely different reason. Another thing that is really good for helping, especially on a cellular level, is keeping this in balance is MSM. methyl sulfur something. Should have looked that up and didn't, but I'm just gonna be real with you. I can never remember what it stands for. But if you look up MSM supplements, they're super helpful for this. Young Living has a supplement that contains it. I don't know that I can compliantly tell you which one it is, so I'll just say if you want to know, let me know. But MSM helps to balance the water levels inside the cells, and obviously if that gets above or below what it should be, then you begin to have problems, because we have to have healthy cells for our body to be healthy. Like, it's a foundational thing. It just has to be. So again, that, especially the water levels in your cell, is going to play a role in things like arthritis and obesity and other things, where if you're retaining water down to a cellular level, things are going to be thrown off. So this one was short. I hope it was helpful and kind of prompts some things. I know there are other things out there that are great for helping with inflammation. There are other essential oils that are really good for helping balance that. And if you want to know more, feel free to shoot me a message anywhere on my social platforms where I'm accessible to you. But I wanted to keep that short and simple and just give you guys a few things to ponder and to, be able to kind of put into action and look at more. So you guys have a wonderful week. I'm so thankful that you came back and listened again. If this is your first episode, hi, hello. So glad to have you here. And I hope that you'll be back next Friday morning when the next episode drops. Y'all have a wonderful weekend.